Today's conversation includes mentions of eating disorders, so please approach this carefully. If hearing about this doesn't feel right for you today, please skip to another episode or return at another point in time. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Asami.
Hello.
It's so nice to meet you.
Isn't it lovely to chat?
Yeah, what a lovely day.
But it's a pleasure to have you in the studio for this convo, and I'm so excited for our conversation because I know that you're a very, very strong advocate for mental health for young Filipino people.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe to begin with, to give us context, can you tell us a little bit about you? Like, what are you studying? What are you really passionate about?
Yeah. So I'm Cait, and I'm an undergraduate student who's studying psychology right now, and I'm finishing up, which I'm very excited about. But aside from that, I am a big advocate for youth mental health, and particularly in the context of the Philippines. So I'm very passionate about sharing my lived experience, but I guess I also carry the stories and the experiences, the frustrations of other young Filipinos who I've struck up conversations with. So it's my own experience, but also this kind of shared responsibility of carrying that voice out. And I guess on a less serious note, I really like drawing and singing, and I have 11 dogs.
That's a very important point to note. 11 dogs.
11 dogs.
And okay, when it gets to 11, like, do you really know all their names?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I remember their names. My sister does a better job at remembering their footsteps and barks, which is kind of crazy.
wow. I feel, okay, listen, I would love to have 2 dogs, but I feel like at 11, I would be like, oh, which one? No. They're like your children, right?
Yeah. They have their own colony.
Yeah.
And we're just the live-in family.
Yeah. Okay. We could make this a dog podcast, but actually what we're talking about today is about culture, cultural pride, how that ties in with our mental health and our well-being. And I'd love to ask you more about the Philippines and your cultural identity as well. Mm-hmm. But I think a really easy and gentle entry point into conversations about culture is food.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So tell me, if you had to choose like one specific dish or meal, maybe from the Philippines, from your home country, that helps you to feel grounded here in Australia, what would it be and why?
Well, my culinary experience is not very extensive, but what really grounds me is this dish called chicken tinola, which is a really hearty chicken soup. And what carries the flavor is that lemongrass and ginger and garlic and onion, that kind of like the aroma. And when you're just drinking it and your foot is up on your chair.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like the foot is a part of it.
Yeah.
It's like the posture.
The posture.
Eating it.
And like just think of when you're having like you're so tired from a day's work and it's like maybe cold outside. It's one of the most familiar and most comforting flavors that I crave for.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I feel like it really helps me with regulates my emotions almost.
Yeah,
like I'm having a bad day and then I have that broth and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
I have a broth story as well. For me, it's a broth that makes me feel grounded.
Uh-huh.
So in a lot of Japanese food, they always use bonito flakes, dried bonito flakes, and kelp, like deep sea seaweed.
Yeah.
And then that's all dried, and then you put that into the water,
Mm-hmm.
and then you take it out and then you cook. So it's
Mm-hmm.
got like this depth of flavor already.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so simple. It's like you can't even describe it.
Yeah.
What it is, right? But when I smell it, when I taste dashi is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's like I just feel like, oh my God. And like like just say you're traveling for a long time or something. Somewhere outside of Japan, and then I come home and then I make like a miso soup with that broth, and then it's like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, like I can picture it.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like we could talk about food forever, right? Similar to our dog podcast. We could have a food podcast.
Exactly.
But I feel like we should probably have some snacks while we have this convo.
That's
and
a good idea.
Our producer, has prepared us some snacks. So let me just get them out
way.
for us, okay?
I'm so excited.
Welcome to the Asian Mental Health Podcast, brought to you by Shapes and Sounds.
Is this a blind box unboxing?
Unboxing.
And a mukbang as well. Yeah. Ooh, is that dorayaki?
Yes.
Oh. Skyflakes! No. Oh, chocolate. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Where did you guys get these? Is that a mochi? Oh. Boy bawang. No way. How did you guys source these? Is my question.
But thank you, Yo, for buying us some snacks. And we're just going to dig in. Them. But which one are you going to start with?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I'm keen on getting Skyflakes because it's my comfort food. Like one time I had a medical procedure and the moment I woke up, they fed me Skyflakes to resuscitate me. And I feel like it's, it's so... It's a cracker, but it's attached to so many memories that I feel most comforted if I were to eat it. So I'm gonna grab that.
Okay, you eat it. I think I will eat that with you because I've never had this before. Okay, for everyone at home, it's a beautiful green packaging. Oh, it's onion and chives. Is that different?
Usually, it comes in a transparent package, and there's actually like no flavor.
Okay. I'm gonna try this one.
Yeah. I'm like giving it a bad rep, like no flavor, but it's
like plain flavor.
Yeah, it's like a plain flavor.
Have you had this one before?
No.
Oh,
yeah. So it's gonna be my first time. Ooh. As you can tell, I'm not very good at unboxing snacks.
Okay, this is ASMR. Okay, ready?
Ooh. Oh, it smells so good. Sorry, You've had your first bite.
Nice.
Is it nice?
Okay, I can imagine the plain one, actually.
Right?
Yep. I like this one too. Not that I've had the plain, but this is nice.
That's so good.
Is this like one of those snacks that has been around forever? Since like the 50s or like the 70s or something, based on the packaging?
It's like a really staple like snack. Like you'd carry this around with you to school or like work, like exercise, like it's
a day
fuel.
trip.
Like a day trip. Yeah. Like if you're going to go hiking or something.
Okay.
You might have this.
We can continue on our snack adventure as we progress, but I want to know about you and your connection to food. Like, do you feel like food is something that helps your mental health and your well-being or helps to, I don't know, make you feel grounded and safe and, I don't know, well?
Yeah. I mean, like, Filipino food has been, it's been an interesting progression in my life because back in the Philippines, I ate Filipino food without the thought that I was eating Filipino food. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was eating it because it was there. There was no significance to it. I didn't realize how special each ingredient was, how special it was to be eating someone's home-cooked food until I moved here and I realized how much Filipino food brought me so much comfort in my life. I think that's why I find it really important to, like bring people to eat Filipino food with me or just cook Filipino food for other people. Because in that sense, I feel like I can continue to interact with culture in a way it keeps me excited. It keeps me engaging in new conversations. And I think that's what contributes to my well-being.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think like food is so powerful? Like food is such a powerful connector in that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to go about this, but the first thing is just the conversations of how this food is made, where it comes from, and just the random other conversations shared between people when they're eating, because everyone is satiated, everyone's excited. Like there's good conversations around food. And I think that warm atmosphere is what makes people happy to be enjoying food from different cultures.
Yeah. It's like that sense of warmth and like your senses are engaged. Right?
And so what better way to do it with food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also get full. And then that's also good.
And a food coma.
Yeah. And then a food coma. Okay. Apart from food, what are some other ways in which you stay connected to Filipino culture?
Ooh, good question. I think the major thing that I really like doing is listening to Filipino music, because, it's also really funny because in the past, I didn't really listen to Filipino music. And then when I was struck with homesickness here, I started to really engage in music as this sort of comfort, as this sort of home. And so my favorite artists became, just a plug, is Zakta Budlo. He's a really good artist. I really like Sunkissed Lola, to name a few. These artists really help me day to day when I'm feeling, like I just want to hear Tagalog for a bit, like Filipino. I also really enjoy speaking to people about Filipino culture. That sort of cultural exchange, I think, is really important. Just talking about why I love my culture a lot is such an important way of, being excited and having it in your mind all the time. And, learning from other people as well. That's sort of like, oh, you have this, I have this. And it's so fun. Like, I teach my friends random Filipino words, and then they'll teach me random words from their language as well.
Like swear words?
Yeah.
Of course.
That's where we start.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how we connect.
Exactly. Yeah. How about you, though, Asami?
Me?
Yeah.
I hear you about the music. For some reason, like when I feel sad, I do find myself searching Japanese artists. Like there's an artist called Fuji Kaze at the moment.
I've heard,
yeah. And I just like, I don't know, maybe my algorithm knows I'm sad or something, because it just like popped up a while ago, a few years ago. And so then it's like, I don't know, like it's weird how your body calls for different things. And then sometimes it's like, oh, that kind of Taylor Swift sound, it's like too foreign to me or something. But then other times it's like that's might be all I listen to, or I don't know. It's very strange, but sometimes like different Japanese artists, or like I like jazz music a lot.
Ooh,
so a lot of like jazz music from Japan is, I don't know, a big part of my day to day.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Maybe it's calming. I really like the soundtrack from Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh, yes.
Like my study music is Merry-Go-Round of Life from House Moving Castle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you should talk to Yo, because the theme song of this podcast is like very much connected to the soundscapes and Japanese music as well.
Yeah. That's exciting.
There you go. Yeah. Right? I can hear already in your conversations, like there is a big part of you that feels really strongly and proud of your culture. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a lot of Asians who grew up overseas kind of get disconnected from that cultural pride. But tell me, like, what are you really proud of about your culture? And what are some of the values and the beliefs that you're so proud of?
Something I think about a lot is the emotional intelligence of Filipinos. I'd say we are very empathetic, to the extent that sometimes it's not always good.
Okay.
Because sometimes it borders to judgment or being able to read the room too much.
Oh, like too overly attuned.
Yeah. But I'm proud of that, because I feel like a lot of Filipinos are very empathetic, and that does dial in to how I hopefully interact with people day to day. And another thing I love about Filipinos is that we're very chaotic people. Like our humor is a bit unhinged, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
And it's great because we can be very loud, and we're great at karaoke. You should see me like sporting karaoke. Like on Christmas, we just whip up the karaoke machine and we're just singing for hours. So those are the aspects of culture that I really love. And maybe not just being Filipino, but being part of that third culture space now, because I do live in Australia, is that resilience that a lot of third culture kids have of being able to exist in a new space and navigating the space all alone. So it really is bringing different parts of my identity from different aspects of my life.
Yeah.
And just seeing how great some aspects work really well, how some aspects still need some growing to do. But yeah, those aspects are really key, and I'm very thankful that I'm able to experience so many different things and perspectives.
Yeah, and like so many different, I like what you said about the different parts of you, you know, we've had a few combos about parts, but it's like there's this rich Filipino history, but now you're here and then you're like choosing different bits that you enjoy and make sense to you to build up this new third culture identity. Yeah. Interesting, hey? What do you think about, so the research talks about how being connected to your culture and having that pride in your culture is a really protective factor against stress. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Like, is that true for you or do you disagree?
I definitely think it's not a perfect statement. Culture, when you're back home, is not pretty all the time. And many times it is a lot of these wonderful shared beliefs and practice. Engaging with culture has helped me in many ways, but engaging with culture has also given me that distress that I did not need.
Oh my gosh. I 100% agree. It's not like this like exotic, amazing culture that's like from the East that's like gonna heal you, or
exactly.
It's like it's really complex, and it makes me think, especially there's so many parts about Japanese culture that are incredible, and they build resilience and strength, and there's words like gaman, which is just like endure in the face of suffering, and everyone does gaman. So then you can put up with anything and you're incredibly strong. But it's also like, how challenging is that too? Like, you have this ability to endure anything. So then like a lot of people suffer, and a lot of people endure like very toxic workplaces, toxic relationships, because you're just always enduring. So there's like two sides of the coin, right? And I wonder if there's something similar in Filipino culture where it's like a saying or like an old wives' tale, or like, I don't know, like
Good
a fable.
Question. I was literally thinking of that.
Yeah.
So we have this word, or even I use it a lot. It's called kakayanin. It's to endure, to keep going in spite of.
Oh my gosh, it's the same word.
It's the same. And to be honest, it has helped me a lot day to day, being like, oh, kakayanin. I'm so tired, but I'll keep going.
Yeah. Oh my
but
God,
at the same time, but at the same time, a lot of it is this built up culture of toxic resilience that a lot of cultures have to face, not just Filipinos. You know how mental health in a Western context is this optimal way of living, to be optimal, to be in your optimal state? The conversations I had with a lot of Filipinos is having to just cope. That's mental health. And it's so sad that we have to accept the fact that we're not going to reach this optimal state of well-being because of many barriers that keep us from being able to be mobile, to be active, to think and be creative. Not just that, but also the services that Filipinos use daily for mental health support. A lot of that is centered or derived from, Western societies. And to some extent, yes, these approaches are good, but at the same time, a lot of it can be hurtful because it's not coming from the context that it was supposed to be helping. That's one of the conversations about how colonialism has seeped through mental health and how it's impacted the well-being of Filipinos.
Can you tell us about some of that mental health service delivery in the Philippines?
Yeah, I'm happy to share that. So growing up in the Philippines, I was less of a studious kid, more of an artistic kid, but it wasn't an environment that welcomed that. And so I grew up feeling ostracized and really alienated from my environment. I guess I like to touch on the fact that I'm also Filipino-Chinese, both cultures being very competitive and being very driven academically. And I seem to have fallen short of that. So that's where a lot of that frustration, lack of self-confidence came from. And that really affected how I went through life. It was so hard for me to engage with people in school. And really what really frustrated me was the fact that I felt like I could not go to anyone for support.
Yeah, right.
You know, I guess at that time, mental health was really, really stigmatized. It was a very confusing time for everybody. And I didn't have a school environment that supported mental health. And I went to psychologists who really gave me that diagnosis, but everything felt scattered and fragmented. And my mind was all over the place because I was a child. Like, what would I be able to do about this?
Yeah.
I didn't have that system to support me. And I had all these sorts of things like social anxiety. I was so scared to talk to people, and just massive anxiety, general anxiety in general. I was just afraid of everything. When I was moving to a school for my grade 11 high school, one of the most heartbreaking things for me was somebody told me that I wouldn't be fit for that school setting because I had the history of clinical depression.
Okay, yeah.
At that point, I'd say I was kind of getting better, but I realized like, oh, my past has shaped where I am now, and it's going to continue to impact where I go in the future. And I really want to hold the hands of people who are going through that same thing, because so much change in structure needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say like change in structure, are you talking about how those systems and services feel really fragmented? Like you get a diagnosis, but your school doesn't understand. So it's kind of just like a word that you're left with, or is that kind of what
it's
mean?
like, you can have that diagnosis, but does it mean it's almost like you get that diagnosis, but it's like a kryptonite. It doesn't benefit you in any way. No one's going to be like, oh, you have depression, so we'll support you even more. But my only hope is that there are these like integrated systems that can acknowledge that young people can experience mental health problems, but that's normal, and we need to be holding their hands through that. And this needs to be reflected in the systems, in governance, in society. You know, the Filipino family is so important to our well-being. And some people, Filipinos who I talk to, are like, even if I get help for my mental health problems, if my dad says it's not real, it's still not real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just like that structural change is so important. Where do we start? I don't know, but it's good to have conversations on this.
Exactly. And you shedding light is important too, and other people listening might hear your experience and be like, oh, okay, this is something that I'm going through, but I'm not alone. Other people have navigated it before too.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've heard a lot about the family unit in different Asian cultures, and even this idea that some young people won't reach out for help because they feel like that might reflect poorly on their family. So then it's like to protect the family's kind of, I don't know, holistic well-being or reputation.
Reputation
is
the word.
Is it reputation is the word? Yeah. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. It's really interesting because of the fact that we're a collective society. An individual is basically representative of their family. We're so integrated, but also so much social judgment goes on. So, for instance, somebody with a mental health problem, it might be difficult for their families to speak up or, get access to services for their child, maybe because they're so scared that it risking the reputation of their own family. How in Australia there are like support groups for parents who have children with mental health problems, I would feel like that's so much more difficult to access in the Philippines because of the fear and stigma that comes from being perceived as, oh, I did a bad job with my child.
Yeah, that now they have
mental health problems.
Yeah. So, Caitlin, how can you tell when you're stressed? You know, what are the signs that you look out for, and what are some things that maybe others don't notice about you when you're stressed?
Yeah, whenever I'm stressed, the first thing that happens is that my heart rate goes up. And I'd say that's like that sign of anxiety that's starting to build up in my system. And I also feel like my body gets really tight. You know, like I'm usually loose, but then when I start getting really stressed, I feel like I'm frozen.
Yeah, right.
And then from there, it becomes less of the feeling and more of the thought. So when I get stressed, I tend to think about the situation piece by piece.
Okay.
And then I start catastrophizing. It's a big problem that I do have.
Yeah, right.
But that mental catastrophizing of the problem and just breaking it up in all aspects, and you're like, oh my goodness, am I gonna figure out how to do this? Oh no, what happens if it goes wrong? And it's sometimes out of nowhere. Like when you're stressed, sometimes you don't have a big reason. Sometimes you're just logging into Canva and doing your assignment, and you get your grade, and you're like, oh shit, that's not good. And then your heart rate starts going up, and a lot of times people might not identify these signs because they're all internal. A lot of them are internal. And so what I like to do is I really like to calm myself down by being like, okay, like calm down, like stop it for a little bit.
Physically tell yourself,
yeah, like stop. Like I just tell myself, stop it. Okay, like you can. There's a better way to go about this, and I tell myself it's gonna be fine. Like don't be so mean to yourself because that's not gotten you anywhere. And I just take a deep breath. And I guess one aspect of culture that I will bring in is I'll pray. I'll be like, oh, it's gonna be fine. God, like help me. And then I stand up. If I need to talk to somebody, I'll text my friend and I'll have a chat with them. Sometimes if it's pretty bad, I'll be like, hey, do you want to grab a drink or something? Do you want to go for a walk? And usually by then I'll feel a lot better.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes when you just jump the gun and be like, hey, can you go out with me? You neglect to take care of yourself first. And once you get back from that, quick catch up, you're back in that state and you're like, oh, it still feels the same. So you really have to start with yourself first and be kind to yourself.
Wow. Yeah. Is this something you learned, or is this something like you experimented with?
Oh, definitely. I think it was when I moved here and I had no support system. Everything made me anxious. Going to uni made me anxious. Talking to someone new made me anxious. Living made me anxious. So I told myself, if I want to keep going, I really have to be kind to myself because this is not going to go far.
Yeah.
And so that's the strategies that I built up.
Wow.
Living here. Yeah.
Have you had experience with mental health services in Australia? And if so, what has that been like?
Good question. So when I moved here, I really brought the idea that if I used my past records, it would reflect on me negatively. So actually, when I came here for uni, I didn't say I was depressed. I didn't say I had anxiety. I was fine on paper. And it really backfired on me.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Because, as a university student, you're going through so many life transitions. I was moving from another country. So I was recovering from eating disorder as well. And it was affecting me in all sorts of ways, like bad sleep, poor concentration, and things like that. So when I first moved here, my life was all over the place. And it didn't reflect on paper. So I went to the university counseling service and I would tell them my problems, right? But because I didn't have a history to back it up with, it felt like it was in a vacuum. Like I was having a bad season.
Right. Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
but I had so much more that I didn't have with me and I couldn't carry it. And so that was my major frustration moving here. And it really impacted me for, I guess, a good year and a half, where I was struggling so much that it was affecting my grades and my interactions with people. And yeah, that's my engagement with Australian services is this kind of frustration that I was never able to use what I had in the past. Because now that I'm learning, it's not stigmatized to talk about mental health here, and they don't use it against you, which is amazing.
But that was your experience in the past.
Yeah.
I can completely understand why you would have chosen not to bring that kind of record with you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now looking back, you're like, actually, that context is very, very
really
important to frame what you're going through in any given moment, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, psychology is quite a Eurocentric and Western practice, which sometimes doesn't quite resonate with things that we know in Asia as well. But yet we also know how important mental health services are and how much more progressive the convos are here. In your brain, how do you organize this?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I love talking about this. Okay. Don't worry.
All right, how much time do you have?
Like, hurry up. But I am so appreciative. I mean, this is why I came here to study, because I'm so appreciative of how progressive mental health is here and how open conversations are. But my experience in university setting, at least, is that perspectives are really limited to Western ideas of mental health. And really, you know how like research takes so long to translate to actual practice?
Yep.
If we want to be making that change, research genuinely needs to start shifting towards more diverse contexts, which I don't know. Do you see that?
Yeah. And you mean like the research has to involve people of different identities and cultures.
Yeah.
So that different findings can be discovered.
Yeah. And maybe it's happening, but it's definitely not fully there yet. And that's where I want to be at, you know?
Yeah.
There's so much potential for that. And the conversation that I have with a lot of Filipinos is that, people in the West, they show that they're caring, but really, like, do something, like support people who want to be doing these things. And it's going to take a while. That's why I've become very vocal about it, because it's something I really love talking about, and I feel like I also hold responsibility to talk about because I'm here now. Yeah.
Makes me think. So at Shapes and Sounds, we're partnered with Monash Uni's Culture, Trauma and Mental Health Research Group, and they're a cross-cultural psychology research lab. But they have these conversations about, of course, like that research translating into practice. But what's really interesting to consider is when it comes to the research context, sometimes the scales, you know, like the validated scales that we use in surveys and etc., like sometimes the scales themselves are not relevant to people of different cultures. Like one, I think Marcus was sharing with me was a conversation about joy, right? And they were using this with Chinese Australian trauma survivors. But then what they discovered was that joy was not necessarily like something that was so important to these Chinese elderly people, that instead they thought they valued peace of mind more. So it's like you're trying to measure joy, but the people that you're working with and trying to gather the research on are like, actually, I don't really value joy as much as other things. So then it's like, where does that validated scale come from in the first place?
Exactly. And like, you know how, we're a lot of the mental health support is being given to the people who need support in those contexts. But how are we going to be talking about this and decreasing stigma if that mental health context of the West doesn't even fit with the context that it's supposed to be engaging with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why can't we talk about mental health over karaoke or something? Imagine.
That's like music therapy.
Exactly. And who knows?
Gosh,
see, like, it could be a research.
Yeah, exactly, right? I wonder, this is a bit of an abstract question, but we're talking about academia. Is there something that if you had a magic wand, like you would say, oh my gosh, you really need to research this, or you really need to be considering this when it comes to young Filipino people? Is there something like that? You know, just in 30 seconds, just summarize it.
That is such a good question. Wow, I was not prepared for that.
Right? I know. I just threw that at you. It's not in the script.
Well, you know what? I'm really hoping because mental health research is just so limited in the Philippines in general, what better way to start by really understanding how well-being or mental distress is experienced among young Filipinos every day.
Yeah.
Like
just base level, right? Like how's well-being experience.
You know how like
distress.
in many countries there are those scales and things like that. I don't know if we have that in the Philippines. And starting from the basics is just so important to have a good contextual understanding of how young Filipinos are experiencing happiness, distress, and all that sorts of emotions. Yeah.
I think that is a beautiful answer. Sorry to put you on the spot, but that was incredible.
Hot seat.
And you're so right. It's like a lot of our work that we do with services as well, we provide cultural competency trainings. It's like we get really deep into like Confucianism, but sometimes some services, they don't even know how to pronounce people's names.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, like we've got to take about 500 steps back.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to be talking about such intense experiences. We need to go back to the basics. And what you're highlighting in research is like the lack of research that exists in the Philippines. In general.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So if anyone's listening, well,
we're not a researcher. Yeah,
exactly.
We've spoken a lot about how we can change the system. That's fantastic. But what about you? Like since your time here and the years you've now spent in Australia, how has your culture and your connection to culture changed or shifted?
Yeah. As I've said a while ago, when I was back in the Philippines before I moved here, I felt like I was just living in a vacuum of just existence. I mean, with that mental health, with all those mental health problems, I was just existing, you know, in that context of, I'm living, I'm eating, I'm waking up, I'm going to school. And moving here, I realized that, oh, that's culture. And I don't want to be cherry picking just the good sides, but really taking from the good and the bad, I was able to really learn who I am as a Filipino, a Chinese, a third culture kid through language, through music. And honestly, I think that my Tagalog got better living here, which is really funny because I think back home, I just really spoke English a lot. And it kind of was just innate, you know. I just grew up doing that. But then because I was living here and then I would get homesick and then I would hear people like speaking Tagalog just on the random corner and be like, oh, yeah. I'd feel so comforted. So I guess I started using the language more and really just engaging with that, those random parts of me that I never thought of engaging with when I was back home, but now really taking it as part of who I am as a person. And I guess as I grow older, these aspects of me are becoming more whole and less abstract. And it's really interesting because early January of 2025, my friends actually came to the Philippines because, you know, we got everyone together and we flew there and then we enjoyed the beach, we enjoyed good company, and it was amazing to see that, you know, that abstract sort of like cultural exchange come to life and them being geographically there and just experiencing what I did growing up and just sharing the food that I love. Wow. And these are those sorts of things that I'm experiencing as I get older, and I'm like, this is so special. And this only happens because I have that sort of culture that I can share with other people. Yeah.
And like it's like a fish doesn't understand the concept of water, but it's like once you're removed from your home country or your home culture, then you're like, oh, this is culture. This is what I'm missing. This is what I want to stay connected with. And then you're sharing
strange.
it with people. Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist to you until it exists.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It doesn't exist to you until,
Wait, that's
until
so
it does. No, but it's true. What do you want to say to other international students or other young Filipino people moving here to Australia in this context of like culture and cultural pride and mental health? Any words of wisdom you can share?
Words of wisdom. Your identity is something that's so valuable, and you'll be meeting people who might not want to hear from that, and you might feel pressured to just kind of assimilate and become invisible. But that's not who you are. Who you are is a constellation of your past, your present, and your continuing. And you really need to embrace that. And it's not going to feel like a cruise ship of a journey where you're just like, oh, this is good. This is great. I understand who I am as a person. It's fine. It's going to have those moments where you're like, who am I? I'm so frustrated. But that comes with it. And you're really being shaped into the person who you're gonna become. And I think that's an awesome process. And really don't be afraid of that, because you'll meet people who will also share those struggles with you. And you'll also meet people who are so excited to see you grow. And I think situate yourselves in those sorts of communities, because that's where love is from. That's where you find real love. And that change comes in the small little moments of interacting with wonderful people and sharing who you are as a person, the good and the bad. Yeah.
Like letting yourself be seen.
Be seen. You can be vulnerable. It's okay.
Yeah. What would you say to people like who are really scared of opening up and who even like maybe don't even want to take the first step to connecting with someone? Like there's too much fear around that.
I think the first step starts from within, because that fear is coming from that anger towards yourself, that frustration towards yourself of maybe not being perfect. But that's okay. Like nothing has to be perfect. You can be silly and you can embarrass yourself. I think I embarrass myself like all the time. And look, I'm still here. I'm fine. I trip up. I say really stupid things. And yet there's still people who love me. Like, it's gonna be okay. You don't have to feel like you have to prove yourself. I think what's important is that you love yourself first. And that love only grows when you're kind to yourself. And eventually you will meet people who love you as well. So don't worry too hard about it.
That's beautiful. That is like an amazing place to finish our conversation today. Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, for talking and advocating for young Filipino and mental health in the Philippines as well. And yes, research in Asia, research in Southeast Asia around mental health is so, so important, as you've highlighted. So anyone want to take that on as a research project, you know who to contact, right? And for everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. But remember, you can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Just Shapes and Sounds, where we always lean into these conversations about culture and cultural nuance in mental health and well-being. You can subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. And that really helps other people to find us, you know, just like that. Subscribing, it's so simple on your end, I think. Please share this episode with your friends, especially if you know of or if you are an international student. We really want people to feel like they're not alone in their experiences. And I think Cait's story is incredible. And remember, word of mouth is really what helps to destigmatize and normalize mental health conversations within Asian communities.
Yeah.
So we did it. Thank you so much, Cait. Yay!
Thank you, Asami. This was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The Asian Mental Health Podcast is a production from Shapes and Sounds, and it's made on the stolen lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. This show is hosted by Asami Koike and Marcus Lai and produced by Yo Chung. This season is brought to you by Embrace Multicultural Mental Health. All thoughts and ideas you hear are independently ours and our guests. Okay, next on the list. Okay, you've shared with me skyflakes, so let me tell you a story about dorayaki. I don't. Have you had these before?
I have, yeah. We're so bad at being mukbangers. Because thank you.
Okay, so dorayaki is essentially 2 soft pancakes with red bean paste inside. This is my grandfather's favorite snack, which is very cute because he's like quite, like to put it nicely, he's like quite a scary person, but he has like such a cute taste for sweets.
Yeah.
Also, there's a character called Doraemon in Japan, and it's like, you might have seen it. It's like that blue cartoon character, and it's his favorite snack too.
Oh, is it?
And so he's actually a cat robot, and he like has this pouch, and he always like, if you need help, he'll pull things out of his pouch to give to you. And he has like magic things, like a magic thing that you can step through and it takes you to any world. Anyway, this is also his favorite food. So it's a very special food.
Yeah. Did you used to watch that growing up?
I must have, because it's like so
ingrained in your memory.
And I know all the characters and I know like what they all mean and everything.
Oh, cool.
But that's this. So it's like, again, like a very, very old snack, like probably like hundreds of years old.
Oh, wow. It's a very...
Maybe.
I mean, the packaging is giving like historical.
Yeah. Old, Japanese, traditional.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You like it?
Very soft and pillowy. I love the...
It's like a warm hug. But
yeah.
It's like very dry. Yeah. Does it feel very dry in your mouth?
No, but like I'd say the bread is really soft. The red bean, I feel like could be more pronounced.
Okay. The balance of the red bean to the...
Yeah.
Yep. To the pancake.
Or is my taste buds not just working? I don't know.